Guys, let's talk a little Cavs after a quick word from FanDuel. You can say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the NCAA tournament. Whether you're betting on an upset or a one seed, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on point spreads, money lines. You can even pick who's going to win it all. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and bet on college hoops until they cut the nets down. Last night, a wonky Cavs game. Cleveland without a bunch of starters, but it was the Caris Levert, Jarrett Allen, and Marcus Morris show leading
that was
Cleveland
weird.
to victory.
Guys, I got to tell you, I don't mean to be a party pooper, but I'm about to be a party pooper.
Here we go.
This is getting tough. I mean, I know they won.
Yeah, like that.
But this is getting tough to watch. I mean, they all, without Donovan Mitchell.
It's a different team.
I saw some media outlet in Cleveland, might have been my old station, posted, gutsy win by the underman Cavs. And I'm like, oh, God, who cares?
Who would have thought that? Marcus
Now, Earl's going to get
Morris.
mad at me. He gets mad at me when I say who cares.
Marcus Morris comes in on a 10-day contract.
And looks better than Deshaun Watson.
Whoa.
Oh.
By the way, Marcus Morris. So a friend, I'm not going to say who it was, but somebody I know saw Marcus Morris in Cleveland, right? He was just on the street. I don't know what he was doing, walking somewhere or whatever. And this person was like, hey, Marcus, can I get a picture? And he was not friendly in return.
I don't think that's shocking.
No?
I don't think so. He seems like he comes off as that type of person.
I don't know him.
Yeah.
Obviously, I covered the league for a long time, but he could be a little rough from what I've heard.
Come off the street and have 14. I tell you what, my boy DG struggling, man.
My God.
He was
He can't hit a basket to save his life.
Yeah, it was. But the good news is Caris Levert is dynamic off the bench. 23 and 11. He
had like 8 assists or 8 rebounds.
He
Almost that triple-double.
I was wondering who was the backup point guard. I mean, when you got a guy like that that's facilitating and hitting like that, he making everybody around him better on that second unit. So
he's playing
nice
well.
yeah,
and that's the thing with Caris is it's hot and cold, man. Like
he'll
give you that, and then he'll turn around and go 2 of 12.
That's a fact because he dropped 40 or 50 last year, and then but he had to. I told him he had to rock the afro. When he got the afro, he'd go for 50.
It brings you good luck, afro.
I guess so.
When Caris is at his best, he's like the second best player on the team besides Donovan. No,
I wouldn't go that high, but he's a really important piece to what they do.
But when he's off,
you just don't know what you're going to get night to night. That's the frustrating part. But when he's cooking, man,
it's that word consistent. You know who he is? J.R. Smith.
He's better though. No,
very different player than
No,
very different player.
I'm talking about as far as hot and cold. J.R. get hot. J.R. can just shoot it from the yard, and he's still going to make it. But when he cold, he ain't going to do nothing.
J.R. was better defensively than he ever got credit for when he wanted to be.
Yeah, which was not often.
Well, no.
The playoffs,
Those are two totally different games to me. You can't really compare those two.
What are you hearing about Donovan Mitchell? What's the buzz right now?
I don't know. It's weird. Like this whole knee thing is weird. So, I mean, at this point, you got to be right for the playoffs. That's it. That's all that matters.
So you think he's shut down to the playoffs?
No, you don't want to roll. You don't want your first game back to be game one.
Yeah, I agree.
But it might be till a week or two before.
I mean, I would err on the side of caution with this. I mean, it's what, March 18th, 19th.
We got 4 weeks.
I mean, I'd give them a good couple of weeks. And
are we playing the Pacers? If it ended today, we play the Pacers in the first round?
No, it's
Philly.
Philadelphia now.
Which is about worst
Embiid
case.
returned to practice today, by the way.
Yeah, that's like a worst case scenario for the Cavs.
If you had to bet right now, over under 1.5 playoff wins, not series wins, game wins, over under 1.5. You had to bet right now. What would you bet?
The Cavs?
Yeah,
over.
First of
better
all,
be
over.
It better be.
First of all, my boy Chris Shaw, bet with Chris on IG. He told me not to bet with the Cavaliers. He said, anytime I put a parlay together and I put the Cavs on there, he said the problem is that I'm using my feelings over facts.
I told you that weeks ago. Didn't I say on the show,
Yeah. So
when you bet, never bet.
Me and Earl put a parlay together.
Well, I told you guys,
And
never bet
DG
in a
robbed
game
us
involving
again.
your team.
Yeah, I shouldn't
It's
have.
because you can't be
Objective.
I thought he was gonna have a good game.
Can't be objective.
DG,
Especially
like
Earl.
you like the only
Because
option.
Earl's like more of a diehard fan than you are.
Earl told me he was never gonna put him on his ticket, and he sent me that ticket, and he showed was
Yeah.
on there.
Earl, don't bet on the Cavs, man. Bet on teams you don't care about.
I ain't never put DJ on a ticket again in my life. For real.
I'm there with Mobley. He can't.
No,
Him and DeJounte Murray will never see it. Never.
It was a weird win though yesterday.
Is
Marcus
there
Morris.
anything you could take from this game?
I didn't expect Marcus Morris to make 4 threes.
That was
telling you.
bizarre.
That was a hell of a performance to step in, not playing all season, kind of come in.
Oh, he hadn't played the whole season?
Well, now with the Cavs.
Is he the
Oh, no,
one
I know
that got?
But when's the last time he played?
Is he the one
tell you
that
one
got
thing.
hurt by the Joker?
I think it was his brother.
So it was Markeith. I thought it was him.
I could be wrong.
I
Don't
never know.
quote me on that.
I never know. One of them got into it with the Joker and like was out for the rest of the season.
Is that when Joker's brothers
Yes.
were?
Yes. Bull, he had played 37 games with
What?
the Sixers
Well, his
earlier in
brothers
the
were, like,
season.
going
So
after him.
when's the last time he played? The
Last time he played, according to Pro Basketball Reference game log, before
Have you
last
seen his
night
brothers?
was
the Joker?
Big as he is.
February 5th. So over a month.
All right. So it's
Month
been
and
a
a few
while.
days.
It's been 6 weeks since he's played.
Yeah, so to come in, hit 4 threes.
We're talking
also,
about. I'm not even listening. We're talking about his brothers.
Oh, yeah. That fight.
Yeah, the
would've been
Jokic
epic.
brothers are giant,
Jokic-
and they're all
Yeah.
tatted.
Yeah.
You
Aren't those
do-
guys fighters?
You do not want to be in a.
well, what's
room with-
crazy, Jason, is if you're talking NBA brothers, I think the Morris brothers are the last pair of brothers in the NBA you want to mess with.
That's true.
In terms of outside of NBA players, the Jokic brothers are the last 2 brothers of a player you want to mess with.
They
That would have
would
been a
Jokic
hell of
you
a
up.
family brawl.
I think that there's dead bodies in the brothers.
Oh, there's
past.
85% chance of that.
I
And
would
they
not
went
wanna
after
mess
the
with
Morris twins?
Yeah.
Why?
I forget now. Mike, do you remember
Didn't
what
one of them
happened?
take a cheap shot?
Yeah, I don't remember. all the
I
Yeah,
details.
one
thought
of them-
I thought the Joker took the cheap shot at
No,
them.
so one of the more, and I don't know which one. I'll look it up. I'll get to the end. But one of the Morrises got in like a little tuffle with Jokic, and then on a jump ball or a pass that was in the air, Jokic pushed one of the Morris brothers in the back, and then the other Morris, then the whole team kind of went after him, and that's when Jokic's brothers were in the stands. That's when they got their viral moment. I'll see if I can find it on tag board for you guys. Hold on.
They are dudes, man. Woo. I'm gonna even listen. What are you guys talking about?
Just how impressive it was for
that
Marcus
Morris
to
hadn't
come
played
in.
at all.
Oh, yeah,
For
yeah.
6
Play-
weeks.
he played
Joins the Cavs, goes out there, hits a bunch of threes.
and he played fourth quarter minutes.
Yeah.
He made fourth quarter threes, and the first 2 were wide open. You know, you expect him to make those. He's a capable shooter. But the 2 in the fourth quarter, he stepped in. The one in the left corner, there's a hand right in his face. And the one in the right corner,
Yeah.
that's a well-designed and executed play for a guy who's been with
Yeah.
the team for like 48 hours.
I mean, he was probably their third best player last night behind Caris and Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, when we talk about the Cavs, what's the one thing we talk about all the time is the toughness and the lack of toughness.
Yeah.
And this
Well,
team
he'll add some.
He will add that
Yeah.
and then some. So, I think it's insurance with Tristan coming back. You take a look at Tristan and you see what he's got now.
played 20 minutes
But if you
last
can
night.
find someone who can play, one of those guys, I don't think you're going to play both of them, but one of those guys can fill a role for you
Yeah.
in a postseason series. And not that you're going to be a rotational piece playing 28 minutes a night, but you find pockets of opportunities here and sort of F the game up a little bit
Right.
and yeah, he could for sure help them down the stretch.
How concerned are we about Darius just being awful shooting the ball right now? Like, what's going on there? Is this still weight related, or
I don't know. I've said
He
it
doesn't
100
even have.
times.
It's not even like he's got to compete with Mitchell for.
I've said
the
100
ball now.
times. He's just having a bad year. It happens.
And what about Okoro?
No,
it
it
seems like
doesn't.
his
Yeah, it
offensive
does.
game
So
has disappeared.
LeBron had a bad year.
Mike, what do we
That's
think
a
of that?
generational-
Okoro's
Did
offensive
Giannis
game
have a
disappearing
bad
here?
year?
Well, he's a result. His offense is
There
a
are
result
two
of
stats.
Donovan, Darius, and other guys creating for him. So
Right.
when they have no Donovan and less creation, he
Yeah.
doesn't have the same space to work with. But the Darius thing, I do think his inability to get to the paint at the same rate he had previously is a factor of him just being 10 pounds lighter. The game's being called more, or refs are allowing more physicality. That doesn't play into his game. But he's just having a bad shooting year. And you can't compare him to LeBron, Tyvis. Like, come on. Come on, just because
Yeah,
LeBron never had a bad
LeBron.
year.
I said guys have a bad year sometimes. It just happens.
Yeah.
He says LeBron never had a bad year. I mean,
I will say that LeBron never had a bad year, of course, but you can't compare. But basketball is the easiest sport of the three we pay attention to. It's the easiest sport to predict the guy's success because it's very rare in the NBA that a good player just has a bad season, unless it's injury related.
See that?
Whereas in baseball and football, it happens all the time. You look at me like I'm crazy.
well, I'm trying
He
to
tried to weigh it.
I'm trying to process it. What do you think, Mike? Do you think?
I don't think it's close.
I think guys have bad years in basketball.
They do?
Like who?
How many guys
I
have
mean,
bad-
baseball is definitely the most variant.
I mean,
Guys
Cody
go up
Bellinger
and
was the
down like
MVP,
crazy.
and then he sucked for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then he's good again.
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah.
Blake Snell has won 2 Cy Youngs, and his other years he's just a guy. In baseball, it's like
Yeah,
a million
baseball,
players.
there's the most ebbs and flows. Basketball, more than football.
How many
don't know.
guys in the NBA go off a cliff unless it's due to injury? When does that happen?
No, it's
or
more-
unless
it's more
they're
of a
old
slow-
or injury.
It's more of a slow, gradual decline. Like, LeBron's still phenomenal, but he's not LeBron
Nobody
5 years ago.
in baseball. There's guys like Dale Murphy was on his way to being a Hall of Famer. Do you know who Dale Murphy is?
No.
Anthony, Earl, Tyvus, have you heard of Dale Murphy?
Never heard of him.
I know
my
you've
goodness,
heard of Dale
yeah,
Murphy.
yeah.
Remember his career?
Yeah.
The guy in his 20s was one of the best players in baseball.
Phenomenal.
We all thought he was a lock Hall of Famer. And then he just collapsed at age 28,
Yeah,
29,
People don't
30.
collapse in football.
I'm saying in football we see that sometimes, but in basketball that never happens
Who?
unless it's injury or they're old.
I'm trying to think of
Remember Sean Alexander? Woo! Guy was the best running back in football. 2 years later, he's out of the game.
Terrell Davis.
Todd Gurley.
Peyton Hillis.
Todd Gurley. No, Peyton Hillis had one weird year.
I mean, when you look at Darius's overall stats, though, like,
Well, that's what I'm looking at.
he hasn't fallen off a cliff by the numbers.
Right.
But it's
But a lot of
The
it's
impact
injury
of
related.
it.
It's
Yeah.
injury related.
yeah, the impact of his numbers, they feel a lot more empty than it
A
had
guy,
in
a
previous
player,
years.
and a player of what I'm saying is like a player, the superstars of the league, the top 30 players, which Darius Garland is not. Those guys just never had bad.
Yeah,
they don't just have bad years
Happened to Sean Alexander.
unless they're hurt or they just
Yeah.
got too old.
That's
in
fair.
football, it happens once in a while. In baseball, it happens all the time.
Here's what if you like 10 years from now, if you pull up Darius's stats, I'd say the back of the baseball card type stats and look
Yeah.
at them. You would not look at this year and go, "Wow, did he really fall off?" A cliff?"
Right,
I mean,
you
they're down.
Right.
But it's not.
Right.
It's not like
You wouldn't
what
notice
happened
it
to him.
if you
yeah.
if you weren't paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's just.
And in baseball, it happens all the time, and in football, it happens sometimes. But in basketball, that almost never. And I'm talking the top, like the top 30 players in each sport.
Right.
And I think the one thing with DG too is, confidence is part of it. He just hasn't had the same shooting successes he's had in previous years, especially from deep. His numbers, you look at his career three-point shooting percentage as a rookie, 36%. Second year, 40%. Next year, 38.5%. Next year, 41%. He's at 37.5%. So it's right in the same range. It's just he goes hot and cold. The consistency's not there with DG. He still has these games where he makes 7, 8, 9 threes,
Yeah.
and everyone's on Twitter like, oh my goodness, look what he's doing. And it's incredible. When he makes shots like that, he's one of the most fun players to watch in the entire NBA. And then the very next game, he could put up a performance like we saw last night, where you have
I
Caris
find him to
Levert.
be one of the most fun players to watch in the NBA. Do you?
Hey.
Like, as much as I'm down on him now, when Kyrie Irving played here, he was one of the most
Well, he's
fun
not
players.
Kyrie. I'm not trying to say he's Kyrie.
He does some nice stuff. He got a nice.
But he doesn't excite you
He
like
got a
Kyrie
nice
did.
handle, like when he spin Alex Caruso like a top and step back and hit the tray, like that was fun to watch. Like he does stuff like
There's
that.
only a handful of guys that can do some of the stuff DG can do,
Yeah.
which is why when he goes for 12 points on 1 of 9 shooting,
It's a shame.
and he's not really as effective as he should be down the stretch, you're like, come on, like we expect more because you are that talented.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Is Earl still here?
Earl's still here, yeah.
Earl, jump on the mic here because Earl's the biggest Cavs fan here. And I'm curious, when you're watching these games late in the year before the playoffs, these last dozen games, whatever they got left, 15 games, are you sitting there watching every play like when they score a basket, are you like pumping your fist? I'm just curious.
Pumping your fist.
Like, how into it are you?
It depends on honestly how I feel about the Cavs at said time. Like, I watched the game yesterday, and I was excited to see them win because, of course, I want to see my team win. But I wasn't over-enthused, and I think it's because of how they've played lately.
All right, so you were into it enough that you cared that they won, but you're not like living and dying by every play.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, I see that. I feel like that's how Earl's a diehard. I feel like the diehard Cavs fans are kind of, I bet, generally like that right now. It's like,
Well, I mean, it's because it's
disappointing.
when you look at the season, it's like, well, they gonna win one playoff series and then that's it. Like,
Well, I think the Mitchell injury right now has everybody
they haven't played
feeling sad.
as of lately. They haven't really played in a way where it's like that team can go far. Like I don't think nobody's had.
But it wasn't that long ago we were saying, well, maybe they could make a run because they had beaten Boston.
Well, a lot of injuries happened. Then,
yeah,
and
right. It's a Donovan Mitchell more than anything. That's just hanging over the
When
whole
you get
situation.
so used to playing one way, it really disjoints everything when you stop playing that way. And we saw that when LeBron was here, when he would leave, when he would take games off, the whole thing unraveled.
Right.
And they're still really talented players, and they're really good players in their own right. But when you get used to doing it a certain way in a certain style,
right,
which this team is now with Donovan, when you take that piece out, again, this was a really fun, young, good team before Donovan got here that had some growing up to do for sure, but talented pieces. This is still a very talented team, but when you get used to one guy driving the engine, when you pull that out and you say, okay, go, you got to go for 5 days or 2 weeks or whatever it is without him, everything looks disjointed, and that's exactly where it's at right now.